Good morning and welcome. Love is the spirit of all souls. You know that. Whatever your beliefs, know that you are a gift inherently worthy of love, and we're glad that you're here. In this moment of our shared pathway, may you feel witnessed and honored wherever you are on your journey. So I invite you to greet your neighbors, especially new or returning members. So Gabe is not here. Gabe is not here. Gabe. Gabe is not here. Is that right?
Yes, I don't think he is here.
I don't think so. Let him go. Let him go a little longer. Let him go a little longer. Go ahead. So before I forget it, there'll be some changes in our order of service this morning. Gabe will not be with us this Sunday. However, he will be with us next Sunday, and his send-off will be next Sunday as well. So bear that in mind. So welcome to everyone who's here and is joining us online and who will watch the video later on. I am John Murphy, pronouns he, him, and I'm serving as the worship associate for today's service. I'm joined by Nancy Olson, Director of Congregational Life and Faith Formations, pronouns she, her. Ginger Stoltz, pianist, pronouns she, her. We're your worship team today. And again, Gabe is not with us. He was going to be with us, but he's not able to. Also, Liz Elsmore is not able to be with us today. So lots of changes, but no problem. Our senior minister, Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, will be returning in the pulpit and to the church next Sunday, the 14th. Yay! And that will be our annual in-gathering and water communion service. and the first Sunday on which our services will start at 10:30. Put, put that in your memory banks. We're also pleased to welcome back the Reverend Ted Gallardo, who will be joining us by video later on. And Reverend Ted served as a former minister of the UU Church of the Philippines during the COVID pandemic, and now is focusing on street ministry, living and being with indigents in a rural town in the Philippines as minister for the UU Fellowship of Valencia. I don't know where that is, but maybe you do. I didn't do very well in geography, so. We extend a warm welcome to people of all ages. Nursery care is available if that makes sense for you. I don't see that we need anybody that needs nursery care, either old or young. Invite anyone that has something on their minds or just wishes to make a comment or has change of address or whatever. Fill out a connection card, and that helps us keep in touch with you and know your needs. So, as I said earlier, next Sunday we are welcoming back Reverend Katie, and we'll have a catered reception in the Harris Hall after the service. We do need, if you can, sign up for help. Get in touch with Ollie Howe, and he needs help setting up on Saturday and a little help on Sunday. So if you're able to do that. Also, remember next Sunday is our actual blood drive. So if you've signed up, be aware that you'll need to roll up your sleeve and give blood. As we begin our time together, we acknowledge the land itself and those who have sustained it through the generations. We are currently here upon the unceded land of the Lenape, Miami, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people who were pushed from their land and whose children were stolen. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to look for ways to make real reparations. The words of call to worship are given to us by the Reverend Ted Gallardo, who will be with us later by video. Come, weary soul, sturdy traveler, resilient warrior, forlorn lover. Come rest by the warmth of our community. Come under the stars of wonderment and the cool breeze of our intentions. We are not here to harm you. May you come with care and come away cared for.
Those are good opening words. Lighting our chalice today is Jane Murphy and her grandchild, Nora. Thank you. It's a Murphy morning. This ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promise to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out this community of love and justice that we surely aim to be. So if you would please rise in body or spirit as we share the words that are printed in your order of celebration. They're in both Spanish and English. We will say the Spanish words first. And if you are with us online, please let us know in the chat where you're lighting your chalice from. Amor, excuse me. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia. Y el servicio es su ley. Vivir juntos en la paz. Buscar la verdad en el amor. Y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
And if you would like to remain standing as we sing number 22,
Good job.
Dear Weaver of Our Lives Design. Thank you, Ron.
Dear weaver of our lives design, whose patterns all obey, with skillful fingers gently guide the sturdy threads that will survive the tangle of our lives. Take up the fabric of our lives with hands that gently hold, bind in the ragged edge that care would sunder and that pain would tear, and mend our raveling souls. Let eyes that in the plainest cloth a hidden beauty see, discern in us our richest hues, show us the patterns we may use to set our spirits free. Please be seated.
Turtle Love, written by Renee Hills and illustrated by Anna Jacobson. Jacob Gordon Lachlan Brown loved waking up in his bouncy bed. He couldn't wait to go outside. Beyond Jacob's front yard, gentle waves slapped and smoothed the golden sand. Jacob loved the low-tide beach. He and his friends found mudskippers and starfish in rock pools. Soldier crabs left squishy sand mounds on the rippled flats where everyone played cricket and soccer. Squawking seagulls flashed overhead. Most of all, Jacob loved the warm summer nights when he and Mum welcomed some unusual visitors. Flatback turtles lumbered up from the sea and laid their eggs above the high tide line near the coloured rocks. Turtles have nested here for centuries, Mum said. Now, I don't know if they're going to survive. Why not? Asked Jacob. Mum pointed to a ship that was loading coal from the big piles on the shore. The ship's propellers churn the ocean floor. It makes the water dirty and the seagrass can't grow well, she said. Turtles and other sea creatures need the seagrass to live. Now there are so many ships. It's a big problem. Jacob looked at the ship and the many others waiting offshore. He looked at the piles of coal. He thought about the seagrass and the turtles. Jacob asked his favourite neighbour, Windella, about the turtles. Windella used to live on an island. She understood the sea and all its creatures. Yes, the flatback turtles are in trouble, she told Jacob. We must all do something to help them. For the rest of the summer and all the next winter, everyone talked about the turtles. Jacob, Mum and Windella talked to their neighbours and friends. They talked to the port manager. They talked to the scientists. The scientists talked to the government, the newspapers and TV. Finally, they had a plan. Next summer, on moonlit nights, everyone waited quietly on the beach. But the flatback turtles did not come. There were no tracks on the sand. There were no nests beside the coloured rocks. Jacob was worried. He talked to Windella again. "Don't worry, Jacob," Windella said. "If even one of those turtles is alive, she will come back. Come with me to the coloured rocks tonight and I'll explain." That night, Windella, Jacob and Mum sat together on the sand. The sea breathed quietly in and out and the rock colours blazed. "A long time ago," Windella said, "the first mother flatback turtle searched near and far for a place to make her nest. Then she found this quiet beach. It was perfect, so she laid her eggs. She wanted to leave a sign for her daughters so they would know to come here too, but there was not a stick or stone to be found, just this big pile of ordinary rocks. The turtle shrugged the beautiful pattern off her own shell and gave it to the rocks. To this day, mother flatback turtles know this beach by these coloured rocks. And when their baby turtles hatch, they all have the same pattern on their tiny shells. As they grow older, the marks disappear," Windella said. Jacob gazed at the rocks and then at the sea. "Look," he cried, "here comes a turtle now." The turtle shuffled up to the soft foreshore near the coloured rocks. She dug deep with her back flippers, and large white eggs rolled into the hole. "You are so wise and clever," Jacob whispered to the turtle. "We have stopped the ships from going near the best seagrass, and we will keep this beach safe for turtle nests forever." And the turtle closed her eyes slowly, as if in thanks. And that's the end of the story.
This day, as every day, there are joys and sorrows too numerous to enumerate up here. So I ask you to hold a moment of silence for all the joys and sorrows in our hearts that we bring into this space. Thank you very much.
Hello, All Souls Indie. Today I'm back. I'm Reverend Ted Galliardo, and I'm here to talk about this topic. Do we really know how to be in conversation? I have been fascinated by conversations in all its forms. I have been a counselor as well as a counselee. I've been the advisor as well as the advisee, a mentor as well as the mentee, a facilitator, a disruptor, a potboiler, a debater, a presenter, and a participant in workshops, lectures, and more. I have seen how conversations can be staged to make it look like we are being consulted when we are not. I have been to meetings that was supposedly in preparation for a bigger and global United Nations conversation that really wasn't that open to divergent thinking. I've seen what social development workers call facipulation, where you pretend to facilitate but are actually manipulating the results of the conversation. Perhaps I've seen it all. Perhaps. Through these varied experiences, I've come to understand that conversation is the unseen architecture of our relationships, the current that shapes our communities, and the arena where both peace and conflict are waged. It is a currency of exchange for ideas, feelings, and vibrations. But beyond this relational dimension lies something even more profound. Conversation as the crucible where knowledge is forged, tested, and refined. The journey of a conversationalist. My path to understanding the transformative power of conversation began unexpectedly. In 2018, I was invited by the European Council to present the results of my social experiments and conversations in France. Experiments I had conducted among diverse communities, campus meetings, professional circles, multisectoral groups, and indigenous populations. These studies were conducted alongside my project partner Miguel Sijuco, a PhD from NYU in Abu Dhabi. There's an NYU in Abu Dhabi, New York University, yes. And he was a multi-awarded writer, a novelist from the Philippines. He's won international awards. The irony of our partnership wasn't lost on me. Miguel and I first encountered each other as adversaries on social media, engaging in heated political debates from opposite sides of the spectrum. We knew nothing about each other then, yet we persisted in our disagreements until curiosity overtook conflict. We wanted to understand why we each held our positions so firmly. Out of the blue, he invited me to a multisectoral forum at his home, where I was unexpectedly introduced as a resource person, but I had a virtual presence. He introduced me through his laptop. This is Ted Galliardo, and I want you to know her. Suddenly, all these people were getting my presentation. So in that moment, I spoke from a place of deep conviction that beneath our political divisions, we all sought safety, security, and progress for our nation. Our divisions, I suggested, were fabricated by the political landscape at the time, while our dreams united us. Yet I noted a critical absence during that forum. The forum lacked representation from the masses. It was being composed primarily of privileged Filipinos, but they like to speak for the masses. So I called them out on that, and Miguel was impressed by my preparedness, though I remained surprised by the turn of events. But perhaps I shouldn't have been. This wasn't my first time navigating a conversational conflict zone. My earliest experience occurred among those struggling for basic human security, where survival itself was at stake. The societal warfare against each participant was palpable. As part of the mediators network, I architected a conversational format that guided facilitators through extraordinarily difficult dialogues, ultimately leading conflict factions to dream together again. This was years back. I was probably just 36 years old. I wasn't that young, but I think that I was way too young relative to now. Years later, I was selected to facilitate a focused group discussion addressing Christian Muslim conflicts in the southern Philippines for the Peacemaker Circle. Our conversations revealed something unexpected. The conflict wasn't fundamentally between Christians and Muslims, but stemmed from colonial legacies that pitted Filipinos against each other. This insight explained why the Philippines has resisted religious division. Religious freedom alongside education remains one of our indigenous values. There's the dual nature of conversation. What I've learned from observing countless conversations is that they can be either bloody battlefields or pathways to liberation. The outcome depends on our soulful communion with one another. The subtle ways we shift, adapt, and transform our mindsets, our body language through the simple acts of speaking and listening. And I think the most important is to be in consideration of others. The most valuable insights often emerge not in isolation, but in dialogue. Something remarkable happens when we engage with others. We transcend our echo chambers, challenge our assumptions, and create something larger than ourselves. This is the first indication that conversation is more than a social ritual. It is an epistemological engine, an engine of knowing, generating knowledge that could not exist without the exchange. A conversation is never merely between people physically present and currently engaged. Any dialogue involves numerous other conversations happening simultaneously. Conversations about relationships, hierarchies, leadership, consequences, impacts, and outcomes. They are all weighing in whatever conversation we are engaged in. This complex web is why self-awareness is crucial when initiating dialogue. We must understand what we ourselves represent to ourselves, our own perspective of what we represent, and from the perspectives of those invested in our success and those questioning our motives. Effective conversation requires identifying who you're really talking to. Are you really talking to the person in front of you? Or are you talking through them? Or is somebody else talking through them to you? Are you talking to a decision maker, the informer, the influencer, or the implementer? This clarity makes navigation possible. So there are cultural dimensions of conversation. In high context Asian cultures like mine, conversation is perceived more through what remains unsaid than what is explicitly stated. We carefully observe how dialogue begins, unfolds, and progresses. Words are secondary, sentiments are important, and attitude is supreme. This cultural perspective offers valuable insight. Conversation operates on multiple levels simultaneously. The explicit exchange of information is merely the surface of a deeper process of meaning making and knowledge construction. Conversation as knowledge production. While most people view conversation as negotiation, a means to establish familiarity or deepen relationships, it is fundamentally a mechanism for producing knowledge. Knowledge isn't static. It's continuously shaped and reshaped in the crucible of conversation. When we articulate our thoughts, we refine them. When others challenge our perspectives, we expand them. When we encounter experiences different from our own, we integrate new ways of seeing the world. The people you converse with become part of your mind or how you think. This dynamic exchange is what enables knowledge to evolve. Conversation tests the viability of ideas in real lives. It subjects them to scrutiny and strengthens them through engagement with others. David White insightfully noted, no one survives a real conversation. That's what he said. No one survives a real conversation. Think about that. A genuine dialogue transforms us, requiring confrontation with ourselves, reassessment of our beliefs, and emergence as changed individuals. We often conceptualize conversations as mere exchanges of ideas, but they determine who holds the center in a group. Leadership in conversation isn't always granted to those with the best ideas, but often to those who best read the group. Those who make others feel heard, who embody facilitation rather than simply proposing solutions. In this way, conversations become a shifting dance of influence, where effective listening becomes the foundation of leadership. And then there's the perils of conversational failure. Conversations also harbor dangers. Groupthink, the silent killer of innovation, groupthink thrives when groups value harmony over truth. So this is toxic. When voices are stifled for the sake of agreement, when dissent is viewed as betrayal rather than contribution, conversations lose their power. Instead of generating wisdom, they become chambers of self-confirmation, reinforcing existing biases and fears. We witness this phenomenon in echo chambers across domains, politics, faith communities, social groups, where perspectives are repeated so frequently that they begin to sound like undeniable truth. But truth rarely emerges from repetition. It arises from tension, from the friction between differing viewpoints. This is why diversity is essential to knowledge building. Knowledge building conversations. Without diverse perspectives, conversation becomes an exercise in reinforcement rather than discovery. The most dangerous conversations are those that feel the most comfortable, where everyone agrees, where no assumptions are challenged, where no new territory is explored. The wisdom of conversational communities. When conducted effectively, conversations harness what James Surowiecki calls the wisdom of crowds. When diverse independent voices converge, they create wisdom surpassing any individual mind. Well-facilitated group conversations where different perspectives are valued achieve more accurate decisions, more compassionate understandings, and more just conclusions than any single leader or expert could alone. This collective intelligence emerges not despite our differences, but because of them. Each participant brings unique knowledge, experience, and perspective, contributing to a more comprehensive understanding than any individual could construct individually or independently. This is conversation's greatest potential as a knowledge building tool. It integrates multiple ways of knowing into coherent, nuanced understanding. Conversation in peace building and conflict transformation. Historically, conversations have been instrumental in peace building. Communities have employed dialogue to resolve disputes, heal divisions, and foster understanding between warring factions. When people speak and listen earnestly, recognizing each other's humanity, conflicts transform into cooperation. I've seen it a lot. When trust is built, something magical happens. Conversations allow us to wage conflict without bloodshed, to struggle over ideas rather than lives. This is why conversation provides the optimal arena for conflict. It facilitates transformation rather than destruction, engagement rather than withdrawal. It enables disagreement in ways that refine rather than rupture. Consider the truth and reconciliation processes in post-conflict societies, where conversations about painful histories become pathways to healing. These structured dialogues don't erase the past but create new knowledge about how communities might move forward together. integrating rather than ignoring difficult truths. So let's go back to conversation as epistemological practice, or the practice of knowing. Beyond being a tool or technique, conversation is an epistemological practice, a way of knowing the world. When we engage in genuine dialogue, we participate in a collaborative, meaning making process that transcends individual understanding. Knowledge emerges between us, not merely within us. This perspective challenges individualistic models of knowledge that dominate Western epistemology. Conversation reminds us that knowing is inherently social, that understanding emerges from interaction rather than isolation. Although some Zen Buddhists might find that contentious, but really we also have, as a Zen Buddhist, I know we also have the practice of Dharma sharing, and that is where our knowledge forms among us rather than just within us. The most profound insights often arrive not in moments of solitary reflection, but in the space between I think and what do you think, right? So, conversation as ritual and relationship. More than a tool, conversation functions as a ritual of relationships. It enacts our belonging to one another, affirming another's worth not just through what we say, but how we listen. In friendships, families, faith communities, and society at large, our conversations shape the world we inhabit. A community that converses actively is a community that thrives. People who engage in conversation with courage, humility, and openness build something enduring. Yet conversation's relational dimension shouldn't obscure its epistemological power. The relationships we build through dialogue aren't separate from the knowledge we create. They're the context that makes knowledge possible. Please don't mind the goats. I don't know why they're very active right now. Trust, respect, and mutual recognition create the conditions where new understandings can emerge. Reclaiming conversation as knowledge building practice. Let us reclaim conversation, not as mere small talk, not as battlefield for egos, not as an echo chamber of comfort, but as a sacred space of transformation and knowledge creation. Let us listen deeply, speak truthfully, and hold space for the wisdom that arises between us. In our information saturated age, we often mistake data for knowledge and individual opinion for understanding. Conversation offers a corrective to these tendencies, reminding us that knowledge is co created, contextual, and always evolving. It teaches us that the most valuable insights emerge not from accumulating information but from engaging with difference. For instance, someone says, oh, it's a flat earth, and someone says, oh, it's a round earth. For sure, as long as they engage with one another, one of their views is going to change because only one truth emerges from these two assertions. So that's why conversation is important, because the flat earther may be able to see that the earth is round, and the round earther may be able to affirm how to better explain that the earth is round to a flat earther. So when we approach conversation as a knowledge building practice, we transform how we speak and listen. We become curious rather than defensive, explorative rather than declarative. We ask questions that open possibilities. So we listen not to respond, but to understand. We speak not to convince, but to contribute. In this reclamation, we might discover that conversation's greatest gift isn't the relationships it builds, though these are precious, but the knowledge it creates, knowledge that couldn't exist without the exchange, knowledge that emerges from the friction of difference, knowledge that transforms not just what we think, but who we are. In our words and silences, in our agreements and conflicts, may we find the path toward deeper understanding, greater justice, and truer peace, not as distant ideals, but as lived realities created through the revolutionary act of genuine conversation.
As you know, each week we split our offering with an organization that shares our values. And this week we are sharing our offering with our partner church in Transylvania in the village of Sepsi St. George. And this partnership has been active since 1998 and is going to be strengthened once again by a visit there by 4 of our members, Jim and Betty Scramanti, Celeste Jaffe, and Kathy Tanner. To contribute, you can give cash or collection or check in the collection basket, or visit, if you're online, visit allsoulsindy.org and click Give to All Souls here near the description of today's service. When giving online or by check, please indicate whether your check is a pledge or if it's for Split the Plate. So thank you again for your generosity in supporting the mission of All Souls and for your continued love for one another and for this world. Morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. These closing words were given to us by Reverend Ted Gallardo, our speaker. Take the song that was salve for your soul. Take the words that bound up your wounds. Take the hour that heard your feelings. Take it with you. Take it all with you. You belong here. Take us with you. I invite you now to stand as you are able and join in singing our parting hymn, number 1021, Lean on Me.
Sometimes in our lives we all have pain. We all have sorrow, but If we are wise, we know there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load that you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just let me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
Yep, you're right. Rachel has gone. Rachel has left us.